Hello and welcome to our podcast, Real Out Loud. Join us and together we'll be engaging in conversations about the truths not spoken of, reflections about life and other issues, and experiences that reel or bring women off balance. I'm your host and my name is Nicole, and joining me will be my co-host, Pinkinia, and on our platform we'll have guests from different facets of life, some who have also had it real with life, and some professionals to give us information on these reflections as we figure out how to survive the real. Hello guys, today we've got an interesting topic. It's a topic that is close to home for most people listening, but for other people it's something that you've observed from a distance. Today we're going to talk about blended families. Probably one might be thinking, what are you talking about when you are talking about a blended family? And the first thing that comes to my mind is that maybe a relationship ended for one reason or another. Maybe a family had to come together. A certain individual gets married to another individual who has kids. Probably they both each have children from their own different spaces. And then they come together. Either they start to build a family, or they actually have a child within that family. Or maybe it can be a situation where someone comes into the relationship without a child, and then they find their children in that relationship. They get married to someone with a child. So those are some of the things that come to my mind when I'm thinking about a blended family. I don't know if you have any other ideas, Pinky.
Okay, I hear you. So I think just to simplify it for me, because this is a foreign topic.
Okay.
So you're saying a blend that's bringing two things together. So it's a parent and a parent, but they're also bringing their children into the mix.
Yes.
Then
definitely.
we blend.
Yes.
They might add one or two children of their own into that blend.
Yes.
But originally they're both bringing children.
Yes.
That's a blended family. Then we have the one that I am single. I've never been married before. I don't have children. Then I get married to someone who has children. Then I become a step parent to those children and to that family. So that is a step family.
And sometimes, remember, the blend comes in different forms as well. I was raised in a family where sometimes it wouldn't just be me, my parents. It wouldn't just be my parents and then us, their biological children or biological offsprings. Sometimes you would have to find that other children would be taken care of in our family.
Oh, yes.
Directly or indirectly. And in a way that causes a blend because their parents are still there. They are still influential roles in their lives, but they are not fully involved in the upbringing of this child.
True.
So this child has to be cared for now by someone else who's not particularly within the same circle.
Okay, interesting. So what exactly like the events that lead to blended? Because I feel like we have to be careful because we're going to touch on both blend and step family. So let's focus on events that lead to blending.
Okay. I think one of the common ones that I can think of at the top of my head is, loss. When someone is in a relationship, one of the partners dies and then they have to remarry and then they marry someone
with
their children.
Also,
there's automatically death. Becomes, yes.
I'm thinking divorce.
Okay.
When a relationship comes to an end, we both agree to go our separate ways. Then I say I want to remarry.
Okay.
Then I have my children. They bring their own children. We blend.
Okay.
So divorce, death.
And maybe adoption as well. Like I've said, to say sometimes children are brought up by a parent that's not necessarily theirs.
Yeah.
Adoption is not only when we go and we sign
formally
papers
and
we, and we take care of a certain child. Sometimes it happens naturally.
We are Africans.
That we are family, but we help each other by taking care of our significant other's offspring.
Yes, mostly in our Black African families.
Yeah.
Or in our families, it's so common. Yeah,
yes,
I think now I'm relating to the topic because you brought that up. I mean, yeah.
But someone might actually think from the top of their head. Maybe it's a question that we can just pose to someone who's listening at the stage to say, is it really a blend? If I'm a single person like myself right now, and then I find a guy with a child,
you become a step parent.
I become a step parent.
Yeah.
Of which we're going to discuss that as part of
The challenge.
the challenges that people actually face. Because they are more or less similar to a blended family, basically.
Yes. Actually, I think we can just like jump right into it, into the challenges.
Okay.
So challenges, they come both ways, for the parent and for the child. So let's focus with the single parent first. So it's a single parent, and the challenges that might come for the parent, introducing the new partner to your children or your child, and the partner that is being introduced to the children.
Woo. What you've just mentioned is something else. The introduction phase, it's a very complex one. That's one thing that I've gotten to notice in my exposure to, situations where families are blended. Sometimes the introductions happen in a formal way where people actually sit down, they formally introduce each other. Look, this is your new parent, or look, this is someone that I'm getting into the family, and 1, 2, 3. And, the family gets to accept or receive this person, or whether sometimes they struggle to accept this person, but they are informed about that decision. But there are certain instances where the relationship leads to a point where they don't specifically go through that formal introduction. And I don't blame people at the end of the day, because there are a number of factors that actually stand behind their decision not to share those plans of, coming together and becoming a family. Because imagine you are a 50-year-old woman and you have to be dating.
Yeah.
And then you have to bring this guy, introduce them to your family, or probably someone has just passed away. People think you haven't grieved yet.
Mourned enough.
Exactly. You haven't grieved yet, or you didn't grieve enough. People will always have opinion.
Yeah.
And then now you are in a situation where you have to immediately start to reintroduce a person to people. Probably there's going to be a lot of issues such as comparison.
So when you say introduce to the family or to the kids, when do the introductions happen? When you want this person to be part of the family, or even before? Because you can introduce me now to your kids, but then we don't necessarily get married next week or next month. It might even take a year or 2 years before we married, but they know that their father is seeing someone.
I think just like we do when I have to introduce my boyfriend to my parents. When I see and realize that the relationship is escalating to a stage where it's actually like really serious, then I take the decision to say, no, let me introduce this person to my parents. I don't just do like an abrupt thing to say, let me introduce. Because remember, these parties, they also have kids. They're trying to protect their own
children,
offspring. You can't be a parent and then one day you are introducing this guy, tomorrow another guy.
One.
Because you are more like a role model. You're trying to model something in your children. So, and you're trying to protect your children in as much as you make certain decisions. So imagine you introduce a child to this person, they get emotionally attached. The next day you are introducing another one.
Yeah.
So I think it comes in stages. You have to be at a stage maybe where you are thinking really this relationship is headed somewhere and we really feel we are going to settle together. Then it comes to a point where a person introduces their significant other to the family. And that is not only for yourselves so that your relationship can flow smoothly. Sometimes it also helps the children to adapt and to adjust to the changes. Because they are seeing this person, they are learning them. The same way you get absorbed into a family of your in-laws, the same way the children also need to do that.
Okay. I get it. So challenges of a parent adapting into becoming a stepmother or a stepfather. What are the challenges that the parent faces?
I think number one, it's acceptance.
Yeah, ne?
Whether you are a Makoti, where I think acceptance, being accepted in a family, it's one of the major challenges that most people face in relationships. So you can think here whether the relationship ended, they were in a relationship somewhere, it ended on a good or a bad note. Sometimes people can really struggle to accept this person, to say, look, it wasn't their fault that the relationship ended at a certain stage or whatever happened to them in their lives. Some people would just struggle to get to a point where they say, we are welcoming this person into our lives, because people are used to the sameness. Whatever that the mind is not familiar with, it makes it very difficult for people to adjust and to deal with.
All right.
So that's one of the things I can think of.
And I'm even thinking you are becoming a parent to an adult already who have their own personalities. They are now enrooted to certain cultures, certain behaviors, certain personalities. Then you
certain
come
ways
in,
of doing things.
and then you come in as the step parent. You don't have kids of your own. You might be told, "You're not my mother. You don't have a kid, or you're not my father." And I'm thinking, coming from
or I
a
might be accused of over disciplining or under disciplining this child.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think if you coming into this as the partner, you have to be emotionally, physically, mentally prepared and strong. And I think you have to actually, before even coming into the family, accept the situation at hand, that you're going to be a mother to someone that you literally didn't start with from, like you didn't see them when they were born or experience their third or fifth birthday. You're seeing them now when they're 13, 14. So you're starting there. You're starting on a higher note already.
You know, that's a challenge. No?
Yes.
Because as a parent, when you go into the family, you are thinking my position is going to be providing, nurturing this person, trying to shape them and, being a support structure or whatever, financial assistance and whatnot. And imagine if this child already has fully formed personalities, like you're saying, it means that at a moment that I'm telling you, this way you are dressing in this household is something that we do not really accept. How that is going to come out. It's going to come out the wrong way.
Yes.
It's going to seem like there's a war, like a battlefield between the two. But sometimes it's just because, we met at different stages of life.
As you're saying now, there might be jealousy. Like you said, you're a 50-year-old and then you're back into the dating game. And then your child is probably 20-something. And then you're dating someone who is around 30s or around 20s. Now anything is possible. Then there is competition between me and that child to be validated by the same partner.
Okay.
I'm an adult, you're an adult. I might think you're not good for my father or my mother. And I might also say you're a bad child.
And sometimes it comes across as a disrespect. Because now, remember, these people have old habits that they've been following through. And old habits, they are very difficult they're very difficult to just end. So you might find that sometimes a person can do something and it comes across as offensive.
Yes.
But that's just in their nature to do the thing because that's what they are used to or what they are familiar with at that point in time.
Yeah, so I think that's when we end up into unending family meetings. The child will report, and then as the parent who's bringing the other part, you wanna be like you are listening, or you hear what the child is saying. So we end up being seated down like, no, the child is saying you did this. Now I have to explain myself. I'm explaining myself to my partner and to the child.
So you can imagine under such circumstances, you start becoming fearful and you start to have boundless limitations because you don't know where you are overstepping. You don't know where you're crossing the line or where you're not. And remember, in as much as we are in this blend now, we are trying to kind of like merge and reconcile the different lifestyles that we've been living.
Yes.
People come into this relationship with old hurts as well.
Yes.
If I've been in a certain relationship with a certain individual who treated me some type of way, probably how I carry myself in the present relationship as well, whether with the children or with my partner or their family, it's going to carry over from the previous experiences of how I was treated. If I was in an abusive relationship, I'm probably sensitive to to
abuse.
being abused.
Yeah,
So if I now come in this environment where children are not really being respectful, I feel like I'm undergoing that same level of abuse again, all over again.
So we're saying if we don't connect on this beautiful thing that the parents have created might die or end because we and the children are not connecting, and now we're having constant fights.
Yeah.
Now I'm not happy, or I'm being reminded of what I've just walked out of. So why would I walk right back into it?
Imagine you're in a less accepting relationship before you divorce. You come in this one now.
The children.
Sometimes it's not because of you and your partner that you end up fighting.
Yes.
But you end up fighting because of what? Because of the children. And obviously this person, they cannot choose between you, the partner, and their own offspring at the end. And it also starts to create a conflict in them.
Yes.
Which means that when the relationship is supposed to be functional, it starts to become dysfunctional over time.
All right. I want to focus on now into a blend.
Okay.
I'm bringing my own, you bringing your own, then we have to blend. The challenges that you face as a parent, as a blending family, to introduce this too. Because I feel there are parties out there that it might be a blend, but you find out that the father ended up not bringing his child to stay with him into this blend, or the mother didn't bring her children to stay into this blend, but she has her children, but they are with relatives or with the grannies. They're not here. What are the challenges leading to that?
You know, like we say it sometimes because of acceptance. It depends if the family that you're trying to put together is actually accepted that transition. You know, some of our African families, you come from a family where family will even be like, what? You bring someone with kids?
Why?
So many kids. Why would you do that? But they're just looking at this person and being judgmental from an outward perspective. They don't know the emotional hurts or the kind of traumas that this person had to deal with. So I think acceptance comes in like as a very important part of the whole blending at the end of the day. It has to start there. Because as long as that acceptance is not there, there's going to be mistrust. People are going to be suspicious of each other all the time.
Yes.
Like your intentions, what your intentions are when you bring your children, what are the intentions? You know, sometimes it will even get to points where a person ends up thinking, maybe I need to pursue the relationship, because we all need companionship.
Yes.
At the end of the day, you start to look and weigh your pros and your cons, and you actually realize it's safer for me to leave my children rather than to bring them into this, because it's only going to make my relationship worse, which means that I have to sacrifice one. I can't sacrifice my children.
Yeah.
I can't sacrifice the relationship either. Sometimes that's why you find people make choices where they move without their children.
You're now in a situation between a hard place and a rock.
Yes, you're caught up now. And when people look at it from outward, they think you don't care, because how would you leave your children for a man or how would you leave your children for a woman?
Yeah.
But in the end, we are judging from an outward perspective. We don't really know what is it that these people are going through in their own individual spaces.
They might be protecting their children.
Yes, because some people need emotional support.
Yeah.
Some people need presence for them to be able to go through certain challenges and just in their life generally. So there is more to it than just, just getting married, like most people think.
Oh, yeah.
So those are some of the challenges.
Okay. And I'm thinking in terms of the event that led to a blend is the other partner died. It's death. Then I'm coming in as the new parent. And then I enter the same house that this person was living in. Already there's hostility between me and the kids, because you're not supposed to be here. You're trying to replace. I feel it comes as you trying to replace. And then let's say I touch something, or I try to change the order of the house. We might end up in a big fight because it's my mother liked it like this, or my father preferred it like this.
Okay.
Are you trying to replace, or are you trying to erase her memories or his memories because he's normal?
Okay. So that's what we're saying, to say that sometimes people carry an emotional hurt from old experiences into the new one, without necessarily the new relationship doesn't necessarily have the problem, but because we are unable to let go of past hurts and whatnot, sometimes we carry them over into the new relationship, which can be a challenge for the parent as well. Because now you're thinking, like you're saying, how do you parent such a child? When you discipline, you are sitting in a meeting next time you are being talked to, why did you abuse the child? Or the next thing is people want to intervene in your lives, and you no longer have privacy. You no longer have, boundaries with people because they feel they have an opinion or they should do something to protect these children or to protect the dignity of the family, whatever it is. And I think also thinking of it, remember, this person is new. Sometimes family might not necessarily remember. It can be easy for this person to build a bond with the children.
Yeah.
But extended family, it can be hard.
They're not
because remember,
forthcoming.
they are not always in the same environment as you and the other and the children.
They might influence the children.
And they can start, exactly, definitely. They can influence how the children respond or how they feel or how they react to this particular situation.
All right.
Because of their own hurts.
As you can hear, guys, this topic is heated and absolutely loaded. We'll come and unpack more of it soon after the ads. Welcome back, guys. As you heard before the break, we were talking about the challenges that the parents face trying to blend the two families and what they go through. Also discovered that it might end up not working out because the blend is not as smooth or is favoring one person, or end up the other person not happy, and then they decide to actually leave. Now, back to the topic, we want to focus on the challenges that the children face when they're forming the blend or having a step parent. Nick.
I think one of the things that children face or they really express in a blended family is that sometimes they are compelled to compete for attention, time, resources, or approval from their parent. It's like I'm fighting with the other parent for attention from the other parent. And I feel like maybe because the resources are shared now, and it starts to become like a sensitive, area for me as an individual.
Or maybe I formed a stronger personal bond with my parent. Then you come in and I might not be forthcoming into accepting you.
Okay.
Because it feels like you are now invading our privacy. You are threatening this bond. Like you said, that time and resources, I might not have the same amount of time that I used to have with my parent. And if it's a blend, now my time has to be shared between you, the new parent, and your new kids. So I might not have enough time with my parent.
And I think sometimes it's not only about competition. As a child as well, you look at the relationship and you are trying to make sense of the transition. And sometimes it can then start to come across as if, maybe because if my parent came from an abusive relationship previously and now they're in this blend, I'll be overprotective of my parent because I'm not necessarily certain or sure of the new partner's intentions.
And I don't want my parent crying again over a relationship.
It can be very difficult, as in how you lost the previous family setup, basically.
All right.
Like we're saying, with issues of loss, sometimes, or adoption, these people, they already move over. They transition from one family to the other with certain parts of themselves that are hurting as a result of the process. Maybe I'm being adopted because my own parents, left at an early stage of my life. And then I get into this relationship. I start to bond with this person, right? Or maybe we can say the other parent passed away and then the other parent has to move on. Sometimes that pain of the loss of the parent can start to be displaced on the new parent without necessarily them having done anything wrong to an individual.
Or I'm even thinking that, okay, I'm vulnerable or I'm still in the grieving mode. Then you, as the new parent, you come in. But then, like you said, that then now we have to bring other factor like a new child or family. Then I feel like now you're focusing on pleasing your in-laws. You're not paying attention to me. I need the motherly love that I thought you are bringing. But then now it's not there. The time that I think I might be getting it, then there's a new baby and then all the attention goes to the new child. And I feel neglected by you. So I ask myself, why are you here?
And sometimes as well, when you welcome new family members, like, this one is bringing their children. This one is bringing their own children. And both families have to come together. Welcoming new family members, it means that you have to share.
Yes.
You have to share time. You have to share your wealth.
Resources.
And that possibly used to be yours alone. So that can feel like a threat, and it starts to create certain levels of mistrust and disconnection in people because you are not purely aware of the intentions of the blending.
And simple things might lead to frustration. I'm thinking of cultures and traditions. Maybe the things that we like to eat are not the same things that you, as the new family coming in, the ones that you like. So you end up, you might cook and then I might not eat because I don't like that or I don't eat that. Then you come in and say, we can't be cooking two pots in the same house. So either you eat or you go to bed hungry. So I feel I'm not being heard. Or now I'm being forced, a new setup is being forced down my throat.
Sometimes children, they're in a learning stage as well. Sometimes they associate more with the person that they've built a bond with. So you can imagine if the extended family or the community or the society that they are in, they kind of like feeding certain disruptive thoughts or certain disruptive ways of being or ways of viewing the blend itself. Sometimes it can start to affect the relationship that they are most likely to develop with this particular individual who's being absorbed into the family.
We might actually have sibling rival because your parent, and then I might accept the situation of what's going on, but then I'm constantly reminded by you saying, my dad said, my mom said, then okay.
That blend is no longer there because there's a certain level of personalization.
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes when children express distress, parents are most likely to assume that it's the child's way of life that needs change. Without necessarily trying to understand them first.
Yeah, we just say they're acting out.
Exactly. Without trying to understand what is it that is going on with this child. Because remember, we talked about things like they feel they need approval, the time, the resources are being, split into two and whatnot. Sometimes because there is previous hurts that they're carrying over into the new family, then the parents just start to think, you know what?
Let him be, he'll come around.
Let her be.
Yeah.
And also, sometimes because children identify closely with their parents, they may struggle with identity once a parental role is changed.
Yes. You end up doubting yourself more as well. Everything that you do, you have to question yourself over and over again. Am I doing the right thing? Is this how it's supposed to be done? Or you might actually have fear of the new parent. Because the moment that they get here, the way that they present themselves, I might end up fearing them, that I'm not comfortable speaking to them or sharing with them.
But I don't think the child also feels like they have much of a decision in whoever the parent gets to be with.
Because if you present someone, then I say, I don't like them or I don't want you to be with this.
That's not going to change your parents'
not going to change nothing.
Opinion or choice of a partner.
Yeah. And,
there's something that we may have overlooked with the challenges that, people in the parents actually face. When there is a certain standard, you are your own person when you come into this family and into
Yes.
this relationship. People need to learn to accept you the way you are.
Yes.
They can't set the bar high or set a standard of the previous person who was in this scenario. If my parent is divorced, then whoever the parent who was there, I expect the new partner to be the same way. That is an unrealistic expectation on the other person as well, because we are all different in our own ways. But
Yes.
when we, like I said, when we start to accept a person, it makes it easier for you to see them for who they are, not what you want,
them to
or what
be.
you expect or what you compare them to have been if they had been like the other parent before.
So is it possible that we might have a blend that will never accept each other?
Yes, it happens. It happens in different families. Sometimes people will never really get to accept each other. Sometimes people will learn to live with the reality of what is on the ground. Some people merge in very easily. They see, oh, my parent has moved on. That previous relationship they were in was toxic, especially in situations where children are younger. I think they are more accepting than when children are older. When children are
Yes.
older, like you said, they are people with fully formed personalities.
Yeah.
They might cause the havoc. But if it's a younger child, they learn as they grow, and they are
Yes.
told, this is your mom, this is your
Yes.
dad. You need to show them some same level of respect. Whatever they say, it goes, because they are your parents now. So I think basically that's what it is.
Yeah, and I'm thinking you out there and you thinking these guys are focusing mainly on the negatives of a blend, and you have a beautiful story of how you guys blended and everything. Guys, don't be shy. Share your stories. Leave your comments and everything. And yes, forming blends, forming families is difficult, and as challenging it may be, there's definitely some joys that come with it. It's a beautiful thing. It's creating new memories. Let's talk about the joys of blending.
The first joy that I'm thinking of right now that I want to share, that is so personal to me, it's you gain. In a way, you gain. I gained a sibling out of our blend in our family. And it's one of the things that, sometimes people overlook when the families come together. That, there's a child that is born in the blend, or, that I didn't have a sister, and then
Now I have a
someone comes into the relationship, they bring a sister, and automatically I have gained
A sibling.
I've
yes.
gained a sibling. So when it's about how you interpret it and how you perceive things, if you see it as a gain, it feels like a gain.
Like a gain.
But if you see it as a loss, it feels like a loss.
Like a loss. All right. So I think it will take us back to acceptance. Accept and enjoy it. It's a blessing of its own, being many, because you get to share responsibilities. Yes.
Even the parents, they get to share their roles as well. Imagine if you have, as parents grow old as well, they've got certain needs that they need assistance in certain places that you can't really come through. Imagine, Pinky, if you have a parent, right? You can't go in if he is not feeling well. You can't go in and bath him.
Exactly.
When he's not well, you can't go in and care and nature for him the way that he would actually need to be cared and nurtured
for.
So it's actually a gain in that instance, because those parental roles, they are now shared. This person doesn't have to do everything alone. They've got assistance, they've got a help.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing the bigger picture of it, the joys that come with it. Even decision making, it helps with that. If we as the parents come together and we hear the children's opinions based on let's say it's a major, let's say we want to move or we want to buy a car or something like that, then we involve the children to show transparency and open communication. Like you can share your opinions and then we'll listen. It helps.
And it actually helps to eliminate or remove some of the anxieties that children have. Because remember, when you're building this family together, there's a lot of mistrust and a lot of suspicions,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
But as you go further and you are sharing, you are being open with each other, then you are kind of like minimizing that slowly but surely.
And imagine the joy of you as the step parent or the other parent. You come in, and then one day that child will just say, "Hey, mama." Imagine the joy of
Yeah.
like they finally acknowledged you or they finally accepted you to be part of their lives. It's beautiful.
Like we were saying, in an instance where someone is lost,
Yeah.
like a small child, if they've lost a parent and then a new parent comes into the picture, that loss, that void can actually be covered if the transition is done in a proper way.
Yes.
This child can have a mother. They can have both parents play active roles in their lives to support them from whatever angle that they need that kind of support and assistance.
And the support and assistance comes in when we get into this, knowing that we're here to build, we're here to move forward, we're here to create new memories and create a family, a happier family, a happier environment.
I think this has been such a lovely discussion because it really helps me to kind of like, when I'm thinking about it right now, I'm just thinking whoever is listening today, what we really want them to gain and to benefit out of this is, let's try to move from that, negative mental picture
Yes.
that is
Yes.
always depicted or displayed about blended families. There are also beauties that come with that. It's not only your biological or your offspring that you are supposed to do things for. No one is an island. We all need each other. In as much as you can see a step parent or you can see a stepchild, one day that child is gonna surprise you and be the support that you need when your partner is no longer there. One day that parent is gonna be the one that's gonna actually be present for you, even if you have lost that other one due to the unforeseeable circumstances. So this is what we've been wanting to do, to nullify that negativity.
Try and see it from the other person's perspective. Think of your parent. You might think that you don't need a parent now, or you don't, but your parent might need a partner. Your parent might be lonely. Or you as
it's
a
not
child,
always about
it's
you.
not always about you.
Exactly.
Think of the next person. Spread love, let it flow.
And you know what, Pinky? I was just thinking when we were talking earlier, when you were talking about the household, the sensitivities as to don't touch this, don't do this, don't do that. You know what actually helps blended families move past such situations where people are holding on to, you don't do this, you don't do that.
Sentimental.
Sometimes when you move on, start from a clean phase. Communicate from the onset, right? Like we said, communicate. This is the direction that we are headed for.
Yes.
So that people are not moving in a fog. They don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
They move knowingly that this is what we want to achieve. This is what we are going to do as a family. And you move after communicating. Also need effort and work.
Yes.
You can't plant a flower and expect it to grow on its own. You have to nurture it and water it. The same with relationships. If I bring in a new partner and my child is not accepting of that partner, it's my responsibility as well to make sure that the two build something together.
Yes, do things together.
Do things, activities,
go out, watching movies, holidays, involve each other in
and
everything
now
that
we're
you're
in the
trying to
COVID
do.
period. Not many people get to travel.
Yes.
Video calling. It's enough to connect, calling each other, texting each other, commenting each other's statuses, showing the presence. It's one of the things that actually helps the relationships. And also working on starting over from scratch. If I am divorced and my partner left a house for me, it's not my place to bring a new family into that house where we divorced.
Yeah.
We need to start over. Help our children develop a new mental picture of what the family is going to be. It doesn't have to have any emotional bonds to say this is Nicole's room. No one gets in this in Nicole's room. Sometimes it actually needs you to move into a new home that does not have any
Where
emotional
no one comes
attachment.
like when we build this, when this started.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that when Pinky comes and she's supposed to be a sister, we know that in this new house we are moving into, Pinky and Nicole's room is this
one. We all
then
starting.
you are creating that, you are helping that relationship to be there at the end. You are also not kind of like maintaining the sameness of the previous heads that came as a result of the other failed or lost relationships that were present. So it's about transparency. It's about starting on a clean face as well.
All right.
Start on a clean note, maintain that openness, maintain that transparency, and then everyone is happy.
All right. Thank you, Nick, for bringing this topic. It has really been an eye-opener for me. And I believe and hope it opened a lot of eyes out there regarding blended and step families. Let's accept each other. Let's think for each other, consider each other's feelings. You know, it might be you today, it might be me tomorrow. We're living amongst humans, so let us be human and do the human thing, that is loving each other, love your family, get to know your new family, spend time with your siblings, with your parents, you know. Get to do those dates. Open dates.
Open your heart for connection as well.
For new connections. You learn a lot. You experience a lot when you open up yourself to other opportunities and other things. Guys, this has been awesome.
For more on our episodes on these relatable conversations, please check us on our website www.realoutloud.co.za or other podcast platforms. Our episodes are also accessible on social media platforms indicated on our website and our YouTube page. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and invite others to our web page. Ciao!